Your company, CTW, has partnered with DOT compliance specialists. We're former DOT officers, DOT auditors, and DOT instructors. We're dedicated to equipping CTW drivers to operate in a safe and compliant manner. CTW is dedicated to driver and highway safety, and to that end, CTW has asked us to further discussions related to driver and highway safety. In this session, we'll discuss distracted driving. Specifically, we'll talk about texting and driving. We'll talk about some of the obvious dangers, some statistics, and we'll offer some helpful tips. The first thing you need to know is that texting while driving is prohibited by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. The next thing you need to know is that following crashes with big trucks such as yours, plaintiffs and attorneys are now pursuing drivers for distracted driving. Specifically, they are targeting drivers such as you for texting or talking while driving. Deaths from distracted driving rose 28% from 2005 to 2008. At the same time, text messaging rates rose from 1 million texts a month to a staggering 110 million per month in 2008. Suppose you were in an accident. How comfortable would you be having your cell phone records subpoenaed and reviewed for the month prior to your crash? Then imagine those records were compared to your logbook to determine how often you send, receive texts, or phone calls. All the while, your logbook shows driving time. At DOT Compliance Specialists, we want to make sure you never lose sight of that. Never lose sight of the fact that following an accident, that your records can be subpoenaed, that they can be compared to your logbook. So this thing can and is likely to happen in the event of a severe injury or fatal crash. In study after study, it's been shown that driving requires a surprising amount of brain power. So when you're out on the road, you have to consider that you have to process huge amounts of visual information, you have to predict the actions of other drivers, and coordinate precise movements with your hands and feet. So even when you're using a hands-free device, scientists have found that when you're talking or texting on the phone, it distracts you to the point where you devote less brain power to focusing on the road. It's hard to do two things at once. It's even harder to do either one well. So when you're driving, let's practice safe driving. Let's practice not doing anything else but driving. That means no talking on the cell phone, no texting, no eating, and so on. If you'll consider that your total focus on the road makes you safer, it'll get you back to your family, and it makes you a safer driver for those around you. You're more inclined to put down the phone. So if you agree that talking or texting on the cell phone while driving is dangerous, we want to offer some common sense tips or just reminders to the things that you can consider. The first thing is to shut your cell phone off. The other is to place it out of reach, such as luggage or sleeper berths, so you can't get to it. And then another thing is to ask your friends, your employers, or family to call or text you at predetermined times when you're less likely to be driving. In the answer sheet provided to you by your safety department, please answer the following 3 questions. When you've finished, please sign the form and turn it back into your safety department. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to visiting with you again in an effort to keep you safer on the road.